The Dallas Cowboys defense struggled mightily last year, and they made the decision to move to former Bears coach who got fired, Matt Eberflus. And I think the question for the Cowboys defense this year is, can they get back to the top tier level play that we saw the 3 previous years outside of last season? Because from 2021 to 2023, they were in the top 10 all 3 times, 7th 2021 in scoring, 5th in 2022, 5th in 2023. And then they dropped all the way to 31st in 2024. And pretty much in all aspects of their team, offensively, defensively, 2024, it was just a down year, finishing 7-10. And so now Matt Eberflus comes in. And the thing I do like about Matt Eberflus is when you look at his history calling plays defensively, he's consistently created top 10 defenses. He was with the Colts as a DC from 2018 to 2021. And during those 4 years, the Colts had 3 top 10 defenses. And in his first year, he took the defense that had previously, in 2017, been the 30th ranked scoring defense. They jumped all the way up to 10th in his first year taking over. And in his 7 years leading these defenses with the Colts and with the Chicago Bears, only once in those 7 years did one of his teams finish outside of the top 10 in takeaways. And so I think that sometimes coaches, they may not be as great as head coaches as they are as, defensive coordinators. And I think during his time with the Bears, it wasn't all his fault. I think you want to have a top tier quarterback, and that's not really what they had with Justin Fields, with Caleb Williams. I think that Caleb Williams, I think he could take some steps forward, but he was highly inaccurate, and that's not necessarily Eberflus's fault. The defense wasn't as great near the end of his time in Chicago, but for the most part, looking at his history, he has consistently created top 10 defenses. And so now with him coming into Dallas, I think that there's lots of things to be hopeful about for this Cowboys defense. And I think looking last year at this Cowboys defensive players, there are a lot of injury concerns with, Micah Parsons missing 4 games, DeMarcus Lawrence missing 13, Diggs missing games, Deron Bland missing games, DeMarvion Overshown also missing games. And so there's no doubt that if a lot of these guys come back healthy, of course Lawrence is gone, but if a lot of these guys come back healthy, then this defense would automatically take a big jump. But I think when you combine that with what Matt Eberflus has proven during his time, he has a lot of positive things to offer. And you look specifically at the run defense, Eberflus, during his different years, looking at his time with the Colts, here's where his run defense is ranked in yards allowed, rush yards allowed per game, or overall. 8th in 2018, 7th in 2019, 2nd in 2020, 10th in 2021. And then when he called plays in 2023 with the Bears, first best run defense in the NFL. And then in 2024, he did get fired late November, so it wasn't all his play calling, but 28th that year. So one pretty bad year last year with the Bears, but before that, those other 5 or so years, he had top 10 rushing defenses. And so I think with the Cowboys, that was no doubt one of their biggest problems was their inability last year to stop the run, 29th in rush yards allowed. And so I think that he does bring that to this Cowboys defense, where I think there could be some hope that maybe he can coach these guys up in a way to allow this run defense to at least become a middle-of-the-pack run defense, which could be enough just because of their ability to force takeaways, his focus on that. And I think the Cowboys offense should take some massive strides forward with Dak Prescott being healthy. I really like the addition of George Pickens, and it seems like Brian Schottenheimer is really doing a lot to build this team culture and this team chemistry. And so even if you can get this Cowboys run defense to middle of the pack, we all know that this Cowboys pass rush can cause a lot of problems with Micah Parsons, adding Azaraku as well. I think that I don't think that's going to be a concern getting to the quarterback. The question is, can this run defense get better? So I think there's reasons to be hopeful. There are still some concerns just because, with looking at this Cowboys defensive line, Mozzie Smith was not great against the run, and Osa as well was not great against the run, was much better against the pass. So we'll see if Eberflus can help overcome what these defensive linemen, at least last year, their weakness was when it came to stopping the run. I think there's reasons to believe they can get much better. But I think overall for this Dallas Cowboys team, I think that they're being slightly underrated just in the overall media. They're 7-10 last year with so many problems, and I think that there's so many different things they've done that should allow them to take a big step forward. I expect them to make the playoffs. I expect them to likely win 10-plus games, and we'll sort of see what Eberflus can do. Can they become a top 5 unit? I think it's possible. I'd say this is probably more of a 10th to 15th best defense. And is there the upside to be top 5 like they were in years past? I think there definitely is. We'll sort of see there. But I do like the signing. I do like them bringing in Eberflus. I think out of all their options, I think that he's a solid option as a defensive coordinator. But if you want more Dallas Cowboys content, feel free to subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys next time.